Okay, this is the Animals v Aliens game template tutorial. This is the final one in the series. This is for level designing. So once you've opened up your package, then you'll see AvA levels as a reference to the different levels. So why don't you click that, and then you'll just see a bit of an overview of all the different levels. And if you zoom in, you can see how they're all kind of constructed. Where you see kind of an image over the top of the object stack, this is what we've called a cloak. Just means you can put a skin over top of the object stack to hide what's underneath it. Add a bit of a different element to sort of your your Angry Birds type environment where you can see the object stack. And as you can see, we employed it on some levels and not others. On your version of the game, there is only level 16 that's got what we call a cloak over the top, and this is purely so that you can see the example code should you want to employ cloaks in your game. But as you can see, we've only used them a few times. Most levels you can see the object stack, and here you can see how they're constructed, and you can simply edit any one of the levels or design from scratch. Okay, so let's move straight on and look at the appropriate page on the project. So click into the project, then head on over to the level design file. Then if you zoom down the page, head on down to the level system here. And this is just giving you a commented section, just giving you some terms of reference, and then we're into build level 1. There are 75 of these build levels and a test level as well. We'll come back onto that in a moment. So if you click the cursor inside of the level, it'll pull up this here, and then you can just zoom to any other level just quickly by doing that. You'll see that it's all pretty clean code inside all of the levels, apart from level 1. There's a lot of commenting just to give you a bit of context, but outside of level 1 it's all pretty clean. However, let's go back to level 1. Okay, so build level 1, let's just go through this. So the defining the level 1 environment. So here, I've just changed this just now actually, just prior. This looks like this. So first we're up with the custom scale. It says here leave it commented out if you want to leave the default scale. The default scale is 0.8, and you can go as low as 0.5. 0.5, if you set it at that, will be very, very small characters, small object stack. It's the equivalent of the game area being very zoomed out. Like you get in Angry Birds, some of the early levels are quite close in. That would be the default scale in this case. And some of the later levels are really quite zoomed out, so you can see lots on the screen and very big object stacks. So that would be the equivalent of a 0.5 here. So leave it as it is if you want the default scale, or uncomment and change that to whatever, 0.5, 0.6 or 0.7. Okay, you've also got the option here with the sling offset. So the sling is normally in its default position, but you can choose to bring it higher up or further across. Maybe you want it on a hill or something like that. So just comment out that and then add in your offset coordinates there. Just play around with those if you want. Again, just probably best to leave that as it is. Next, you've got your background images that you've got for the different levels. Again, you can just leave these and simply change the graphics in the folder. So for example, this is in the optional reskin area, in-game backgrounds. You can just change those, and that will automatically update there. But obviously, you've got the option to mix and match on each level. Okay, number of animals to sling. This is this setting here. So in this level, we're slinging 2 animals at the object stack. And number of points to pass level is the next one down. So here it's 10,000 points to pass the level. Okay. If you've completed the level with spare animals, you'll get bonus points for your score as set out below. So that's 10,000 for every animal that's not used when you complete a level. Then next up we've got the stack adjustment. Once you've created your object stack, you can move the whole thing, shift it to the right or the left on the x-axis, or up or down on the y-axis, either minus or plus before the figure you enter. You'll see lots of examples in the level code of this in action. The cloak map, this by default is always commented out if you see this on a particular level. This actually puts a grid, a map, over the top of the level, so it's a coordinates grid so that you can easily plot objects on the playing area. So I'll show you that in just a moment actually. In fact, I'll show you that right now. So if I uncomment this section here, and then build the game. Now, when the game's built in just a moment, you'll see that I have got a map on the grid on the on level 1, which I can then use to plot coordinates for the various objects. Okay, we'll move on down. In fact, that's just about to go on now. So let's have a little look. So this is just building on the phone, and I'm linking this via QuickTime. You can just use the simulator, but the simulator has a bit of lag and latency, so it doesn't work so great. So I'm just kind of streaming it through QuickTime, and here it is here. I'll turn the sound down. Okay, so now if I go and play level 1 now, this is the cutscenes. I'll skip that. If I go and play level 1, you can see they've got a grid here. I can use this grid here to plot. So if I was to go across to say here, 460 on the x-axis by say 440 on the y, if I want to plot an object there, the middle of the object will appear in that space there. It means I can just plot easily from the coordinates. This will come much clearer in just a moment. So you can enable the cloak map on any of the levels. Just copy, if it's not already existing on a level commented out, just copy the code and then paste it onto a level and have it uncommented. But for now, obviously, we want it commented back out. So /* and then */ at the other end, and that's back commented out. Okay, terrain layer. This is terrain layers. You can just plot individual items on the game area, like a tree in this case. There's a hornet's nest and spring. Hornet's nest is an in-app purchase feature that if you hit, it'll automatically pass the level as like a bypass, easy way to get to the next level. It's available as an in-app purchase, and it's available on any level. It's plotted on every level. Okay, you can also have springs. In this example, it's commented out. There's no springs on level 1. You can put TNT boxes, and that's the end of the level 1 defining environment. Okay, so now we're going to look at the object stack. So the object stack, these are all objects in the stack, and they're all just a bit of code here, starting with the stack object and ending here. Now let's go through basically each of these. So in this case, we give them a variable, so object 1, and then the next along we're looking at the coordinates. So 25 along on the x, 40 along on the y, and there is a marble square. And then there's some of the parameters. Brakes on ground, no. Brakes from Ninja, no. You'll see a lot of references to Ninja. It's because originally we were slinging ninjas, not animals. So that's the reason for that. Has animated brake frames, no in this case, but you can have set brake frames. You'll see that in the must reskin folder for sorry, the optional reskin folder for the objects. You can set break frames. If it's no, it'll just be an explosion um, um, kind of effect when the particular item is broken. But in this case, it is set as breaks from Ninja no anyway, so it won't break. Does it damage the enemy? No. If the object hits the enemy, it can or can't damage it. In this case, no. And do we want to change the angle? And do you want to make it immovable? And the points if it breaks. So that's an example of an individual object in the stack. So you take your object and simply plot it. And here you can see all the plotted objects. Give them all a unique identifier. And as I say, they've all got their own coordinates plotted on the map. Okay, so that's basically the object stack here. We do have a cloak on level 1 on my version of the game, Animals the Aliens. And the cloak is essentially an object in a sense, but it's just got some different parameters. Basically, it just hides, and there's a layer over the top of the object stack. And there's another terrain layer as well on this one. Okay, so that's the end of the object stack. Now we're on to level 1 enemy section. So again, this code exists on all the levels. And here I am defining exactly where the first enemy is going, 45 plus on the X, 200 plus on the Y. And again, some more settings. And that's it. So my level 1 is just 1 alien and 2 animals to sling at it. So then I'm on to level 2, much cleaner after level 1 the code because it doesn't have all the commented sections. So here I've got my level scaled commented out, I've got my offset commented out, my village scene this time here, and again my now I'm looking at the set points to pass level, 20,000 set point bonus per extra ninja, 10,000. Make sure that the points to pass level is a multiplication of the points that you get from killing an alien. So for example, if killing an alien is 10,000 points and there are 2 of them, then 20,000 is the score you want to put there, so that obviously when those 2 aliens are killed, they've given enough points to pass the level. Okay, iPad stack shift, or the iPhone stack shift there. We don't have a spring on this level, it's commented out. The hornet's nest is there. And then we're into the object stack there. We've got a marble square again. We've got a stone pillar. And you can just simply just copy any of these out, copy and paste it into different levels, and then plot the X and Y coordinates. And as you can see, these are all of the different objects in level 2. And then we're into the enemy. And in this particular one, there are 2 enemies, I think. Yeah, enemy 1, enemy 2. Again, just plot the location, and well, actually, yes, that's right. Okay, then level 3. Again, much cleaner code, straight there. So it's the same format on every level. You are just setting out the environment, then you are just plotting in your objects in the stack. Again, you can swap and change them from different levels and add them in to create your own levels. And there you go, there's the enemies again, and this time we've got an alien blue and an alien green. And okay, so you can do that for all 75 levels, just adjust a few levels if you wish. And then finally there's a test level right at the very end, build to, if I go to that. Now, test level, you can just set out an environment. In this case, the background's test. And then it's exactly the same as a normal level, but it means that in the game config header file, you can go to, where is it now? You can go level builder test mode. And if you set that to 1, when you test your game, when you load your game, it will always load up the test level. So it means you're not having to keep going into the game, finding the level that you're on to test it. You can just load up the test level every time. And then once you've obviously done that, change that to 0, and then go back to your test level, and then copy and paste the code into the level that you want. Say, for example, it was level, I don't know, 65, then I could just paste it in there. Okay, so that's pretty much about it. Give you an idea how you can create your own levels, and any problems, let us know and we'll be happy to help. Many thanks.